Welcome to the A.I.P channel where anything is possible. Tonight, we're going to talk about Operation Paperclip and Project IceWorm. Two more Cold War stories of intrigue and pretty amazing stories. How one of them failed and the other one is very much a checkered past from what it covered up. So please enjoy. Imagine a world where nuclear missiles hide beneath endless sheets of ice, ready to strike at a moment's notice. It's the late 90s. The Cold War is at its peak. The US and Soviet Union are locked in a game of cat and mouse, each side racing to outsmart the other. In this frozen chess match, America hatches a plan so audacious, so secretive, it sounds like science fiction. Project Iceworm, a sprawling network of tunnels underneath Greenland's ice cap, concealing hundreds of missiles aimed at Moscow. But this isn't just a fairy tale of military ambition, it's a story of engineering marvels, ice betrayals, and unexpected legacy that still shapes our world today. To understand Project Iceworm, we need to rewind to 1958. The U.S. is paranoid. Sputnik's just gone up. The Soviets are flexing their nuclear muscle, and the Arctic's becoming a strategic hotspot, right between the two superpowers. The Pentagon's got a problem. Missile bases are sitting ducks for Soviet bombers, so they dream up something wild. Hide the missiles where no one can see them under Greenland's ice. Enter Project Iceworm, a code name that conjures images of a frozen serpent cold to strike. The plan: build 52,000 square kilometers of tunnels that's bigger than West Virginia, housing 600 ICBMs or ice ballistic missiles, a modified Minuteman design. These babies could hit Soviet targets 3,000 miles away, all launched from mobile rail cars, zipping through ice corridors. It's a $2.4 billion gamble. $20 billion in today's money. It's all top secret, even from most of Congress. But while Greenland is Danish territory, sure, but the U.S. had a foothold thanks to the 1941 Greenland Agreement and Thule Air Base. The ice cape's 2 miles thick in places, perfect cover. Plus, it's close to Soviet turf across the Arctic Circle. The brass saw is a checkmate move, undetectable, unstoppable, a frozen dagger at Russia's throat. The blueprint was insane. 2,500 miles of tunnels, 11 feet wide, 8 feet high, with 21 ice bases linked by rail. Each base would have barracks, power plants, and launch control self-sufficient cities under the ice. The Army Corps of Engineers calculated it would take 11 years to build, with crews rotating out every 6 months. But before they could commit, they needed proof it'd work. And that's where Camp Century comes in. As a test run, they become the most ambitious ice experiment in history. Fast forward to 1959. The U.S. Army sets up Camp Century, 150 miles east of Thule Air Base. Officially, it's a polar research station, a cover story fed to Denmark and the world, but beneath the PR is IceWorm's prototype. Construction kicks off with a giant Swiss snow milling machines chewing through ice at 40 feet an hour. By 1960, it's done. 3,000 feet of tunnels, 21 trenches, and all buried underneath 25 feet of snow. Picture this: a main street lined with prefab buildings, labs, a hospital, a gym, even a chapel. There's a rec room with a jukebox, a theater showing westerns, and a mess hall serving hot meals. At its peak, 225 soldiers and scientists lived there, calling it the city under the ice. The crown jewel, a portable nuclear reactor, the PM-2A, first of its kind, dropped in by a helicopter. It pumps out 1.5 megawatts, powering lights, heat, and experiments. Water is melted from the ice itself, 8,000 gallons a day. It's a marvel of engineering, a Cold War bat cave in the Arctic. But it's not just a test of tech, it's a test of survival. Temperatures hit minus 70 degrees outside, blizzards bury entrances, and ice groans under its own weight. The Army's betting big if Camp Century holds, and IceWorm's greenlit. Life inside was surreal. Guys smoked pipes in the library, read Life magazine, and ate steak on Saturdays. Scientists drilled ice cores, some of the first ever study in ancient snow layers, but the military had bigger plans. They ran mock missile drills, testing rail systems and mapped ice stability. It was a proof of concept for the nuclear fortress. For a while, it worked. By 1962, Camp Century was a propaganda win newsreel touted as a science conquering the Arctic. But behind the scenes, cracks were forming literally. Here's the thing about ice it's not static. Greenland's ice caps flow, compress, and shift sometimes an inch a day. By 1962, engineers noticed the tunnels warping, walls bulge inward, ceilings sag, the reactor trench shrinks by a foot a year. Crews work overtime with chainsaws and blowtorches, trimming ice walls like gardeners pruning a hedge, but it's a losing battle. A 1964 report, declassified later, shows the math. Ice deformation would crush IceWorm's tunnels within a decade. Then there's Denmark. The U.S. never told them about IceWorm, just Camp Century's research facade. But rumors swirl, and Danish officials get antsy about nuclear weapons on their soil. Geopolitics heat up. Meanwhile, the Army's hemorrhaging cash, $5 million a year, just to keep Camp Century running. By 1966, the reactors pulled out, and the base is mothballed. The ice takes over, swallowing tunnels, gear, and even a latrine famous dubbed the world's deepest toilet. Project IceWorms is killed by nature, not the Soviets. Officially, it's a bust. The Army walks away claiming it's just a feasibility study. Declassified docs later revealed the full scope, hundreds of missiles, a frozen doomsday machine, all scrapped. But here's where the story twists. Camp Century's failure wasn't the end of it. It was just the beginning. Those ice cores from Camp Century, they weren't just military busywork. Scientists like Chester Langway kept drilling, pulling a 4,500-foot columns of ancient ice. By 1966, they hit bedrock. 1.4 million years of Earth's history frozen in layers. Back in labs, they cracked the code. Air bubbles trapped in ice showed past CO2 levels, temperature swings, even volcanic eruptions. It was a time machine in ice and the birth of modern climate science. Today, every study of global warming owes a debt to those cold wheel drills. But there's a darker side. When Camp Century was abandoned, the Army left behind 53,000 gallons of fuel, 32,000 gallons of sewage, and radioactive waste from the reactor. They figured the ice would bury it forever, though they were wrong. By 2016, climate models ironically built on Camp Century's data showed Greenland's ice melting faster than expected. That toxic mess could resurface by 2090. A Cold War boomerang threatening the Arctic. Denmark and Greenland are furious, and cleanup talks drag on. So Project IceWorm didn't change history with missiles. It changed it with science and a warning. It showed us the planet's past and hinted at a messy future. A failed weapon became an accidental oracle. Project IceWorm was a Cold War fever, dream bold, reckless, and doomed. It never launched a missile, but it launched a revolution in how we see our world. From a secret base to a climate wake-up call, its stories a roller coaster of ambition, failure, and redemption. Next time you hear about rising seas or ancient ice, remember it started with a crazy plan under Greenland's frozen heart. Operation Paperclip. May 1945. The Third Reich is in ashes. Hitler's gone. Germany's defeated, and the Allies are carving up what's left. But amid the rumble, a secret race begins, not for territory, but for minds. The U.S. has a plan: scoop up Nazi scientists, engineers, and weapons experts before the Soviets do. It's called Operation Paperclip. and it's about to rewrite history. This isn't just about a story of Cold War espionage, it's a tale of moral compromise, technological triumph, and a moonshot that changed the world. To get to Operation Paperclip, we need a scene. World War II is over. Europe's a mess. The US and Soviet Union wartime allies are eyeing each other across the Iron Curtain. Both know Germany's tech was leagues ahead rockets, jets, and chemical weapons. The V 2 rocket, the world's first ballistic missile, rained terror on London, flying 200 miles at 3,500 miles an hour. Whoever gets the brains behind it gets the edge. The Joint Chiefs of Staff greenlit a secret op in 1945. Grab these scientists, scrub their Nazi past, and bring them stateside. They call it Paperclip because they clip new IDs onto the files, clean and simple. The stakes? Sky high, of course. The Soviets are looting Eastern Germany, snagging their own experts. Stalin got nuclear ambitions. Truman's got the bomb, but needs delivery systems. The Cold War is heating up fast, and Germany's geniuses are the prize. The U.S. Army Intelligence Unit, the JIOA, gets to work hunting names like Werner von Braun, the V2's mastermind, and dozens more. By summer of 1945, they're raiding labs, seizing blueprints, and interrogating scientists. Some surrender willingly. Von Braun negotiates his team handover at a Bavarian ski lodge, promising rockets secrets for a fresh start. Others are tracked down in hiding. The haul? Over 1,600 men by the program's end, engineers, physics, and doctors, plus tons of documents and hardware. But there's a catch. Many are card carrying Nazis, some with blood on their hands. What do you do? Of course, this is where it gets very messy. They aren't just tech nerds, they're part of Hitler's war machine. Von Braun, an SS officer who used slave labor from Dora Mittenbau camp, 20,000 died building his rockets. Others worked on nerve gas or ran gruesome experiments. The U.S. has rules. Public Law 183 bans Nazis from immigrating. But the JIOA got a workaround, rewrite their records. Ardent Nazi become not an ardent Nazi. War crimes erased. President Truman approves Paperclip in 46 but insists no hardcore Nazis. The army nods and ignores them. They argue necessity. Lose these guys to Russia and America is toast. Take Kurt DeBus, SS member turned NASA launch director, or Hubertus Strughold, father of space medicine, linked to the child experiments. Their files got sanitized. Security threats, if left behind, not threats they're brought over. By 1947, shiploads arrive at Fort Bliss, Texas, and White Sands, New Mexico. The public is told that they're technical experts. No swastikas mentioned. Meanwhile, critics like Albert Einstein and Jewish group protests call it devil bargain, but the Cold War's clock is ticking. They put to work fast, testing captured V2s, designing new missiles. Von Braun's team fires 70 rockets at White Sands, tweaking guidance systems, proving long-range tech. It's a gold mine. But whispers spread. Soldiers guarding them notice German accents and arrogance. The cover holds, barely. Paperclip's a gamble. Trade ethics for supremacy. Now the payoff. By the 90s, Paperclip scientists are reshaping American arsenal. Von Braun moves to Huntsville, Alabama, Rocket City, leading the Army's Redstone missile program. It's the first U.S. ballistic missile, range 200 miles, nuclear capable. Then Sputnik hits in 57. Soviet space dominance stings. Von Braun's team counters with Explorer 1, America's first satellite launched in 1958 on a Redstone variant. The space race is on, and Paperclip's the engine. NASA forms in 58 and von Braun's its star. He pitches a Saturn V, a monster rocket, 363 feet tall, built with paperclip vets like Walter Hosman and Ernest Gessler. It's a Cold War flex. Beat the Soviets to the moon, July 20th, 1969. Apollo 11 lands. Neil Armstrong's giant leap rests on Nazi know-how, laundered through paperclip. Von Braun's a national hero. Look, magazine cover boy. Walt Disney pal. The U.S. wins the space race, and the world is awestruck. But it's not just space. Paperclip fuels the arms race. ICBMs like the Atlas and Titan owe their guidance to German design. Aeronautics, too. Jet engines from paperclip vets like Hans von Ohain pushed U.S. air power. By the 70s, over 100,000 jobs and billions in tech traced back to these imports. It's a triumph, but the shadow lingers. The truth creeps out, and in the 70s, journalists like Tom Bauer dig into paperclip, declassified docs. Some released in 1984 under FOIA. Name names. Door survivors sue, linking von Braun to atrocities. The Justice Department's OSI hunts ex-Nazis Arthur Rudolph, a Saturn V engineer, flees to Germany in 84 rather than face deportation. Public outrage grows. How war criminals get VIP treatment. The answer? Cold War results trump justice. The legacy is a mixed bag. Paperclip gave America the moon, missiles, and tech dominance, arguably shortened the Cold War. Von Braun died in 77, a legend, but it sustained too. Proof the U.S. spent its values for victory. Soviet equivalents like Operation Ossavikim, OSOAVIAKHIM, grabbed 2,000 Germans, but never matched Paperclip's haul. Today, historians debate, was it worth it? The Saturn V says yes. Dora's ghosts say no. Paperclip's echo lasts. NASA is still a titan, built on those foundations, but it's a reminder progress can come at a price. In 2011, the National Archives dropped 1,300 more files, and the questions keep coming. Genius or monster? Patriot or opportunist? Paperclip blurs those lines. Operation Paperclip was a Cold War heist. 1,600 minds snatched from history's wreckage. It turned rockets of war into ladders to the stars. But it's a story with no easy heroes, from Nazi jobs to the lunar surface. So what do y'all think about those two Cold War? This end of World War II, end of the Cold War, and Cold War, it really shows that they were willing to do anything to get the edge. It didn't care. Ethics, having Nazis who did atrocious crimes to humanity, it didn't matter. We just kind of scrub that little thing there of their past and make them heroes. Let them have them over here, in the States living like kings. Project IceWorm was pretty wild and pretty amazing. It actually almost worked, but Mother Nature is Mother Nature. It is pretty amazing. It did. We were able to get a lot of information out of those ice cores and stuff over the time, and so that was a plus in the situation for sure. We got to see, some of the climate changes over the history, some of the things they come up with now. I may or may not agree with, but what has happened in the past for sure has happened in the past. It's pretty neat to see. You can go back and tell that, when a volcano erupted, because you got the ash in that layer, and you got you can see when it was a little warmer this time. And it truly showed the earth goes through seasons and comes ups and downs. We're always going up and down and up and down. And very amazing. They went all the way down to found till they found ground. It's pretty wild. But what do y'all think of these? There's two more Cold War experiments. One kind of failed, but turned into a plus, and the other one didn't fail, but it was just an eyesore on the United States for sure. We're seeing, the Soviet Union was doing the same thing we were doing, but we were lying. It's both times we got caught lying to the people. We got caught lying to Greenland and Denmark, and now we're looking at trying to, there talks about it, the United States taking over Greenland and want to be taking over Greenland. That's kind of, I thought I kind of wanted to go over this, put, you know, we've had our hands in wanting to use Greenland space for a long, long time. It just shows us it's it's one of them things that's been in the minds of our leaders for a long, long time, all the way back into the 50s and stuff. They were looking into it, using Greenland, and I imagine that even then maybe they were thinking about being like to have Greenland, be part of the United States, and even as a territory or something. It'd be interesting. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. I'm just kind of combining some. I'm adding these together and see how that goes. And like I said, I hope y'all enjoy these, and make sure you like and share and subscribe. Check us out on all the other platforms. Also, we're on the Trouble Minds Radio Network, digital broadcasting. So check it out with all the other great shows, and probably more things coming soon. Maybe expanding their reach on the podcast. New podcast studios coming. I see I'm in a different place right now. I'm in a different room in the house, and I'm hoping maybe start working on the new place maybe next week. Be good. So gonna be fun, and start getting it ready and getting. It's just got a lot of eyes in the fire right now, and it's gonna be hectic for a little bit, but it's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be fun. So I appreciate y'all listening. As always, y'all keep on keeping on, and peace and chicken grease. Y'all be good.